Welcome into the PFF State of the Franchise. It is your Cleveland Browns edition. Sam, a whole lot to talk about with the Browns. We have to try to keep it tight because there's a lot going on. They've got a million draft picks, a ton of players in and out. Tyrod Taylor's coming in to play quarterback, but of course they're going to draft somebody as well. Give me some big picture thoughts about the Browns this offseason before we dive in.
Chaos, trades, signings, everything is changing for the Browns. They still have two of the first four picks in the upcoming draft. This is a team that is building something. We just don't know what it is yet. I like some of the moves they made, but we're going to have to see how all of this pans out.
Sashi Brown out of the front office, but he left the Browns with so much draft capital, and they brought in just a ton of players the last couple of years as part of their rebuild. So I think they're in really good position. Let's get into some of the names. We have Jarvis Landry coming in, slot receiver coming from the Miami Dolphins. We've got a bunch of turnover in the secondary with Damarious Randall coming in at cornerback. You know, what are your favorite moves here from the Browns, and what are the biggest impact moves that they've made?
Randall, I think, has the potential to be an interesting one because he's been a cornerback his entire time in Green Bay, but the Browns, I think, are going to move him back to his college position of free safety, which could impact two positions of this team. We were wondering all last season why this team was playing Jabril Peppers, their first-round pick last season, off the line of scrimmage as this deep-lying free safety, middle-of-the-field guy, single high, completely departed from anything he did in college, where he was closer to being a linebacker than he ever was a free safety.
Right, he was working out with the linebackers at the NFL Combine.
Yeah, and we were wondering what he was going to be. Was he going to be a safety or a linebacker? No, it turns out the Browns are going to play him as a single high free safety 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. And the reason they were doing that is because he was the only guy that Greg Williams, their defensive coordinator, trusted in that role. They gave a shot to all the other guys, but Jabril Peppers was the only one that could do it, so he got that role. With Randall coming in, this was a college free safety at Arizona State, a guy with the range to play cornerback, hence the move in Green Bay. You move him back to free safety, it might allow you to put Peppers back towards the line of scrimmage as that strong safety. Suddenly you're better at two different positions, having made one relatively low capital trade to get that guy in.
Yeah, I really like that move and what that could potentially do in the secondary. Still a lot of work to do at corner. Jason McCourty had a career year last year. He's been traded to the New England Patriots. They were going to release him. They end up just flipping a few draft picks. So I still think corner is going to be one of those big needs. Up front, they made another trade with the New England Patriots. Big guy Danny Shelton, after just 2 years, he moves on. He's a pretty good run stopper, so there's a bit of a hole there at nose tackle, even though Larry Ogunjobi did a really nice job last year as a rookie. So still some holes on the defensive side of the ball. On offense with Jarvis Landry, how does he fit in with that receiving core? Because if Corey Coleman can live up to his potential and Josh Gordon stays on the field doing what he can do as a number one wide receiver, it's a pretty well-rounded group now.
Yeah, if those two things work out, then Jarvis Landry is the perfect receiver to add to this group because he is a specific role player. He is your slot underneath type of receiver who's going to get 7 yards regardless of the down and distance. And you know, he averages a huge amount of yards after the catch, over 5 for his career, and breaks a ton of tackles. He's averaged 22 plus broken tackles in each of the last 3 seasons. This is a guy that can move the chains for you. You're giving your quarterback, whether it's Tyrod Taylor, whether it's your first round rookie in year 1, you're giving this guy a safety blanket underneath, regardless of the down and distance, to pick you up easy yardage, an outlet receiver. And you team that with 2 guys that can stretch the field vertically, suddenly that's a pretty balanced and dangerous looking receiving core.
We'll get to the QB position in a minute, but we have to discuss left tackle Joe Thomas. We poured one out right here for him. For that Hall of Fame career, he was unbelievable. Only gave up 30 sacks in his entire career. And the guy that replaced him last year, Sean Coleman, gave up 11 sacks in half of a season. So it just shows how good Joe Thomas was there. Coleman currently slotted in at left tackle. This also feels like a big need that they're going to have to address in the draft.
Yeah, Coleman coming in at left tackle could be a problem. He struggled last year at right tackle. Bringing in Chris Hubbard, I think, should help solidify at least the right tackle spot in relief at right tackle for the Steelers last season. He was extremely good. Allowed just three sacks over the entire year. Played, almost the entire season. Played 800 plus snaps when you include the playoffs, which is the bulk of a full regular season. So we've seen a lot from Chris Hubbard. And if you take out one disastrous game against Baltimore, he actually played pretty well over the full season. So he could easily come in, be their starter at right tackle, nail down one of those spots. Now you just need to replace Joe Thomas, which is no easy feat.
No, not at all. So let's get to the big question. It's the quarterback position. It's what are the Browns going to do at 1 and 4, but also early in the second round too. They've got their 2 high picks, so a ton of draft capital in Cleveland. They also traded DeShone Kizer this offseason after just 1 year, and I don't think, to me, that wasn't them just giving up on DeShone Kizer. I think they took a calculated risk last year with their 4th overall selection, even though it was in the second round, to take a shot on Kizer, who has a ton of NFL-type traits, and it just didn't work out after year 1. So I don't think it was a crazy move to move on from him. They were always going to be in this quarterback market this year. So who are they taking at 1? Who are they really going to take? Who do we think that they should take? I think that's a big question.
They should take Baker Mayfield because everything we have in terms of college data suggests that he is head and shoulders above any other quarterback in this class. The best you can do, carving up the numbers any way you want to slice them, is find one guy that can come close to Baker Mayfield. But he is the consistent lone guy atop every single list when we look at it. He should be their number 1 pick. Who they're going to pick is another matter entirely. I think it's going to be one of Sam Darnold or Josh Allen, the guy with all of the quarterback tools. One of those 2 guys is probably going to wind up the number 1 pick because they are the prototypical football guy draft pick, and that's what this organization is now. It's football guys in the building.
Yeah, you don't win any championships on paper with the analytics, is what I'm hearing. It does sound like there's different rumors every day, but I would guess I think it's Sam Darnold is what that'd be my feeling, and I don't hate that pick at all. As much as I love Baker Mayfield, I do think he would be a really good fit, and he's got some high-end play that has just been outstanding in college. What about at number 4? There's a lot of question there. Is it Bradley Chubb out of NC State, that another edge defender to pair with Myles Garrett? Or can we think outside the box a little bit and focus on some of the guys that we have loved throughout this process? Maybe a Maurice Hurst out of Michigan, that interior penetrator, or maybe a Derwin James, just an all-around safety / edge defender / linebacker, this all-around playmaker. Where would you go at 4 if you're Cleveland?
I don't know why you're talking about that. They're going to draft Saquon Barkley at 4. Everybody knows
that.
I
forgot about him. You got to get those running backs early.
Exactly, yeah. That looks like the way it's shaping up. If you compare what we would do versus what's going to happen, it sounds like what's going to happen is they're going to take one of Darnold or Josh Allen number 1, and then they're going to hope quarterbacks go 2 and 3, and then take Saquon Barkley at 4. I think no matter how special Saquon Barkley is, and he can be special, I don't see a big enough upgrade at that position from what they already have in the building, with Duke Johnson able to be that mismatch weapon as a running back wide receiver hybrid, with Carlos Hyde coming in to be an every down running back. I think they're fine there. They're stocked. That's the position where you should target to pick the best guy at a position of need, at a position where you can stand the upgrade. Whether it's a Derwin James, a special kind of playmaker on the back end, whether you target your favorite cornerback in this draft, whether it's Josh Jackson out of Iowa, whether it's Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. We've seen the impact that an Ohio State number 1 corner can make as early as last year, with Marshawn Lattimore coming into that New Orleans Saints defense, transforming the unit completely. The Browns need that kind of impact on their defense, so one of those guys would make a huge amount of sense as well.
It's a passing league, and it's all about affecting the pass game either positively or negatively. The corner would be a great value selection, I think, compared to running back. So a lot of exciting offseason moves in Cleveland. I know Cleveland fans are down just a little bit, but I can see things turning around here a little bit. All the talent that they've added the last couple of years, all of these potential draft picks, some of these moves that they've made, the Browns are turning this franchise around. And I said it all last year, Sam, they were way better than an 0-16 team. That was not a disastrous roster, but they did lose every game.
16 hard-fought defeats.
Exactly, 16 hard-fought defeats. But the Browns, they're on their way back. Be positive, Browns fans. A lot of moves this offseason and still a lot more to come in the NFL draft. That is your Cleveland Browns State of the Franchise, powered by PFF Elite.